It's Carmen and Jurko. Welcome in. Waddle and Sylvie will also be broadcasting here live today. We were here early watching practice, a capacity crowd on hand watching practice on the fields behind the Walter Payton Center. In a little bit here, Matt Eberflus is going to step to the podium. When he does, we're going to carry it live. He's just upstairs from us here at Hallis Hall. They'll be in the media room, and he's going to make the announcement about playing time for Thursday. My partner was a little upset with me. I said yesterday, Jurk, don't shoot the messenger. But I just I think we all have become familiar with how this league works and the way teams operate, whether it's right or wrong. And I don't agree with it. I agree with you, actually. But I was surprised at your level of shock and awe when I told you don't expect the starters to play. I think we're going to get official word here very shortly that the starters aren't going to be playing, that Caleb Williams isn't going to be playing on Thursday night. And I said, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you the way the NFL is. I don't agree with it. I think a young quarterback on a team that wants to hit the ground running would do well to have a few series.
The only objection I take to your statement is this is the way things are done now. I disagree with that statement. What I would agree with, there are 32 teams in this league in 32 different positions in the realm of what their football team is or is not. And then you have to gauge what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done within the respect of your own football team. If Kansas City wants to go about the business of not playing their quarterback because their quarterback is established and has won Super Bowls, great, fantastic. They have the luxury to do that. Herbert, the kid that's with Chargers.
Yes, Justin Herbert.
New wide receivers, new everything. Do you think they're going to hold them out the first exhibition game, or do they got to have some familiarity with each other and create some chemistry between each other? No announcement has been made, so I'm not going to do that.
But
you go down to Atlanta, you think Cousins, the veteran quarterback, is not going to play? If he's physically capable of playing, he'll be in there because he also has to create some chemistry with his wide receiver core. And you can do that in practice, but until you get the game, it's different. Preseason games have much more intensity than practices do, whether you like it or not. So the only thing I object to your statement is the fact that 32 teams are in different situations. And depending upon their situations, they have the luxury to or not to play their starters if they choose to or they don't choose to. Being in a situation that the Bears are in where they are clearly a mediocre football team.
Until they prove otherwise.
Until you prove otherwise, practice is a necessary evil, whether you like it or not.
In games.
All those people that look at you and say, well, if we don't want them to get hurt. Yeah, but practice is a necessary evil. You have to have it. I would tell Nate Davis if I had a chance to sit down and talk to him. I hate practicing. I tried to get out of every practice I could. I did.
But you didn't.
Honest to heaven,
it was all said and done, you didn't.
Why? Because it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
This Hall of Fame game is an opportunity for you to get your guys out there. Now, if they decide not to do it, then it's clearly because your quarterback is not prepared. That's what you're telling me, period, Carm, whatsoever.
I don't know.
How did the second unit look today? Getting to the ball, getting the ball snapped, no illegal procedure penalties. How'd they look?
Yeah, there seemed to be fewer pre-snap mistakes,
if none,
with the second team.
How'd the third unit look?
I'm trying to remember how much of Rippin I actually saw. I didn't see too much of Rippin.
Tommy Waddle said that the second and third team didn't have any problems.
The second team
getting
certainly
to the
did
ball
not.
and getting things done.
The only team had an issue again in team.
The only team that's having a problem getting things done right now is your first team. Why? Because they haven't done it enough. They have not put the repetitions in to where it's a smooth running machine.
Yeah,
so what do you do when your machine is not running smooth? When you have a unit that's not getting it done, do you say, fellas, take the week off? We don't need you to work any harder because you keep screwing it up. Take time off and don't worry about anything. Or do you say, fellas, we're going to give you 20 plays in the first game?
Oh, man.
And if you want to embarrass yourself in front of the country, feel free to embarrass yourself in front of the country. Or you guys can go about the business of getting stuff done and getting on the same page with each other and looking like a professional football team should. Period. What they choose to do, they haven't done it yet, Carm.
They haven't officially.
They haven't done it yet.
I talked to half a dozen people.
The preemptive strike is out there. And I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I think
it's counterintuitive.
Some would say,
to
well,
what common sense would dictate one needs to do to get better.
I asked about a half a dozen people, that are around here every day.
Yeah.
And the general consensus is, well, they haven't officially said anything, but no, we don't anticipate
they already
it.
know. They already
now,
know. You know
the other thing that was said,
and he's all right, and he's all smiling. Oh, you're ridiculous. You guys can figure out who it is. He knows the answer already, and he's being coy with us.
The other thing that was told to me was, well, they've got the extra game. Why would they play anybody this week? And which I would retort, you could do something useful with the extra game. Even if you threw them out there for 2 series and you handed it off 6 times, I'd say at least you practiced getting in and out of the huddle, getting to the line, and getting a snap off without a penalty. I think the second play of team today with the first team was a false start.
A penalty.
They had to delay a game. They had an illegal procedure. This is the first unit in team.
Were the officials out here today?
Yes.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be happening. And at the very least, it can let you, in a real game against a different opponent, simulate the speed of an actual game and just get in and out of it. I understand a desire to be cautious with your most important players, but my goodness, with the rookie quarterback, and they keep talking about the cadence, and they talk about all the other little vernacular that they use about what has to go right to make sure there are no pre-snap penalties and everything's clean and smooth and efficient. I don't think it's crazy to suggest you could use the extra game and use an extra quarter on Thursday night just to drill that a little, just to practice it. I don't think it's crazy. So I don't disagree with you, but I know how the league sort of goes, I guess.
And then you'll have your jackaloons out there, and they're there, these jackaloons in Bears country, saying, well, how much will 20 reps really help the Chicago Bears? How much will 20 reps do? Well, it's cumulative.
Yeah.
It'd be 20. It would be 20, and it would be 20. Because if you're not playing them the first game, you're not playing them the last game.
I wouldn't think so.
So now you got 2 games to try to get some reps in.
Which is what most teams are going to use. They'll use 2 games with their starters.
And once you get to that first game, and if they crap the bed against Tennessee, what am I going to hear?
You're probably going to hear, well, it wasn't as smooth as we had hoped.
Right. It wasn't as smooth. We got to still work out some of the kinks. What'd you do the previous 6 weeks? What did you do? You took things for granted. If I'm Nate Davis, the way they treat preseason
by the way, Nate
games,
Davis is still not practicing.
Fine.
He was on the bike today. I did see him on the bike.
Good for him.
Yeah.
If I'm Nate Davis and I see the way they treat these preseason games, why would I play? They don't take them seriously. The Chicago Bears don't. So why would I? If I'm Nate Davis, I'm going to save myself to the beginning of the season. Why? Look what they're doing. What happens when they practice against Cincinnati for 2-3 days before they play the Bengals next Saturday on the 10th? What do you think is going to happen?
They did this with Indy last year.
Yeah, what happened? What happened?
Well, we got it in our requisite. We got our work in.
And nobody's going to play.
How'd that go for
How's that going to go? I'm telling you, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't crap the bed against Tennessee.
Huh? Fair enough.
Do what you want.
We'll see in 6 weeks.
You got Carte Blanche. If this is what you want to do, this is how you want to approach it. You think you've got the best method, fine. But don't do what you did against Green Bay last year. You came out on opening day, and what you did,
like poo-poo.
You big stinkies all over the field. It was awful. It was terrible. And you know what? They didn't recover from that for a while.
It took them a month.
Took
6 weeks.
October. That's when it took them. It took them October.
When the Bears played in the Hall of Fame game in 2018. Now, back then.
Oh, all the way 6 years ago?
No, I was just going to say the schedule was different. You didn't have the 17th game at that point. The preseason hadn't, it was still an extra game.
You still had 4 games.
Exactly, right.
What happened in that game?
I did. Kevin Fishbane from The Athletic is the one who gave me tipped me off about this trivia question. I did not remember it. He said, "Do you remember who threw for 180 yards or whatever that night?" I don't remember. Tyler Bray played most of that game. Chase Daniel started it. Mitch didn't play.
Well, Mitch. Now Mitch wasn't the crystal clear number 1 coming in. They didn't want to overload it.
I don't know. You don't think so? I mean, because you remember Mitch played in 2017 a little with Foxy.
They didn't burn the bridges down, did they? This is what they did here. They got rid of any competitive quarterback there was.
Yeah,
they jettisoned their starter of the last 3 years. They put him in the garbage, right? Justin Fields. They said, we'll give you away for nothing, and we'll send you to Pittsburgh. You think Bajan is a legitimate contender for a starting job against Caleb Williams?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
But did you really?
But that didn't happen back then.
But was Chase Daniel or Tyler Bray? I don't think so.
Listen, they weren't Hall of Famers, Carm, but they were at least slow playing Mitch Trubisky coming into the year. But you knew that.
Well, I'm just as a frame of reference. The last time they were in this game,
and a guy that only started 1 year at North Carolina.
True.
Okay.
And played.
So they're going to bring him. They were bringing him along slowly. That's not what they did. They got rid of the starting quarterback. They drafted him number 1. They started preparing him in the month of March in their 1-hour meetings they had in pre-draft, where they were already putting the game plan in.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's good.
I go, so what are we doing? We can't compare 2018 to now.
Okay.
It's not the same.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Like I said, all 32 teams are in different situations. Okay. Some teams can afford the luxury of not playing people. Other teams cannot.
Well,
I put the Bears clearly in the camp where they can't. They cannot afford not to play.
We're going to find out soon.
But that's fine. I make my objection.
And then we'll see on opening day.
I made my objection. And if you lose against the Tennessee Titans, to me, it's a fireable offense. Go ahead. You do it the way you want to do.
I love how passionate.
But if you lose to the Titans, you should be fired on the spot.
I love how passionate you are.
That's it.
He always gets fired up with it. I think a lot of the old school guys get fired up about it. I don't blame you.
I don't like practice. I hate practice.
I think,
I hated playing in the exhibitions games once I established myself.
Right.
I needed the exhibition games to make it in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was established, I hated it. Okay? That's as a player. But you think Coughlin, the coach, gave a rat's ass what I thought about whether I should play or not? No, he did not care.
No.
Because he knew I needed the reps. And he knew that Brunell needed the reps. He knew everybody needed the reps. At what point did these reps become so not important?
Yeah.
At what point?
Listen.
And if they're not, then cancel the damn preseason.
Football is so violent and inherently dangerous. You know,
driving is dangerous, Carl.
No. Come on, but seriously,
no.
Of course it is. But listen,
no. Come on.
Football
no. Come on. No. Come on. Yeah, driving is dangerous. But you know what I'm saying? Like
swimming
is dangerous.
Amongst the sports that we watch, that we cover. Stuff like this doesn't happen. Those players play preseason because what you say is right. How else do you prepare yourself?
Yeah, it's a necessary.
You prepare yourself for a hockey season by playing hockey games.
Yes.
You prepare yourself for a baseball season by playing a month's worth of spring training. You prepare yourself for an NBA season by playing games.
Yes.
In football, we've sort of gotten to the point because they make a lot of money. They're worth so much, and it is the most inherently dangerous and violent sport. It's like, nope, can't play them. But it does make it hard to then be prepared, I think, the way teams, whether they used to be or want to be prepared. And we've seen this trend for years now, and as they lengthen the season, it's only going to continue to happen. Teams, by and large, are sloppy, unprepared. It probably leads to more injuries in September and early October. But teams take forever to really ramp up and hit the ground running and hit their stride and find out who they really are. And I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them, because all of a sudden September is used as the time. The first 4 games now of the regular season are used as the time to really condition your body and prepare to play because nobody plays in the exhibition season. So it is a weird spot that the NFL finds itself in. I understand,
but it's only because
why you're venting your frustration about
the idiotic philosophy that has been adopted by a handful of teams that have decided the preseason games aren't worth it. They're worth it. You're saying it's because of injury. No, it's because they don't believe it's worth it.
But isn't that what you think they're afraid of?
But if they fine, then cancel the preseason, give me a 20-game schedule, and let's go party.
And the first few games are going to stink every year, right? In
September. They do now. What's the difference?
I know, and
they do now. What's the difference?
That's why, yeah. All right, Jurko's hot. Are you as bothered by it?
And I haven't even had the official announcement yet. But
no,
remember,
but again,
if they lose to Tennessee, Eberflus should be fired on the spot.
We'll see.
On the spot.
312-332-3776. So Matt Eberflus will step to the podium shortly here. We'll carry that live here in your home for the Bears. We are live at Hallis Hall doing the show today. We'll give you some other observations from practice. Waddle and Sylvie were out here watching as well. We'll cross-talk with them in a couple hours. When Matt Eberflus hits the podium, we'll let you listen to that here on your home for Bears football. We'll be right back.